we've got the full details of MV Agusta's brilliant looking new 5-cylinder engine, pricing for the stunning BRUTALE Serie Oro, a new baby retro from Kawasaki, plus pricing on some of their new bikes as well, then some impressive sales figures from the Chinese brand Voge, new products from LITELOK and Magna, some great news off the back of EICMA, a new Suzuki off-road experience, recalls at KTM and Husky, Yamaha confirmed their V4 engine for next season, and we've also got rumours that CFMOTO might be a set of their excellent levers for your very own bike with loads of adjustability. There's a 4-inch range, 180 increments as well, so you can get it perfectly dialed in, beautiful billet construction, and also this genuinely, I've been loving them on my Bonneville since I've fitted them. We're also throwing in a whole bunch of ASV merch, plus a $150 voucher for Quad Lock, which means you can get the perfect phone mount for your particular bike's cockpit to complement your brilliant new levers. On top of that though, we're also including a full set of base layers from Bowtex tin, and so you can wear pretty much whatever you want over the top of them, be that casual commuting clothes or, you know, wet weather gear for the difficult conditions, and you can ride in the full confidence that they're AAA rated and also have level 2 armor in the elbows, shoulders, knees and hips, and you can also stick a back protector in as well. Like I say, there's a link down below, but also if you don't fancy your chances of winning, we've got a discount code as well, so do check that out, especially if you're ordering from outside the US, because it includes free international shipping, so you really could concept a 5-cylinder on their stand in a glass case as a bit of a teaser. They didn't include any information, there wasn't like a board next to it though. They did send out a press release that has a little more insight, and I've got to say it sounds every bit as good as it looked on the stand there. The key idea they say behind it is to create something super versatile, so they'll plan to use it in a super sport, in a naked, maybe a touring bike as well. Power figure of 240 horses, it's 135 Newton meters of peak torque, which is already pretty healthy, but also makes it at 8,500 RPM, so much lower in the rev range than that Revy peak power figure. What they're saying is the 5-cylinder layout here is absolutely key to give you that really usable spreader perspective as well. They're saying it's going to be super smooth with effectively like a triple up front, a twin at the rear, and a U-shaped crank to connect them together. And the result, they say, is something that's very sweetly balanced and very minimal in terms of vibes. On top of that, it's also very compact, slot neatly together, and it all comes in at under 60 kilograms, which I think is pretty impressive for its power. One of the factors here could be the use. They sign off though with the press release by saying that it will be coming to an MV bike at some point in the next few years, and in their exact words they say in a highly anticipated model that's currently no longer in the lineup. Now my guess would be limited run to launch this new BRUTALE 950 platform. They're just making 300 of this bike, and it sounds like it should actually make for a really good road bike. It's still got the, you know, punchy peak power figure. It's still got, makes more torque lower down, so it should be a touch more usable. They've lengthened the wheelbase a touch for more stability, and also lifted the handlebars to make it a touch more comfortable. So for me, sounds like a winning combo. Isn't their most expensive bike by any stretch of the imagination, but also it's got to be said, it is a significant cut above your average middleweight naked bike. So could it possibly be worth it? Well, again, let me know what you think down in the comments. Launch this one at the show. But we've got a new announcement from Kawasaki, this time in the form of a budget-friendly little single-cylinder retro. This one's called the W230. It'll be in UK dealers from early 2026. And the key with a bike like this, of course, is making it very affordable, and it comes in at £4,654. Now for your money, you're getting a very light little bike at 143 kilograms fully fueled up. It's got a very manageable seat height at 745mm, and so I dare say this is going to be a very tempting starter bike, but also a nice little, you know, potentially second bike as well. It isn't super punchy with it being a 230 single. It's just shy of 20 horsepower, just shy of 20 Newton meters as well. But I think the other part of its appeal is the styling package, which is perhaps a little more traditionally retro in that very classic looking kind of way than some of the other bikes on the market, like the Honda GB350S or the Triumph Speed 400. Now, it's not the cheapest, The Honda undercuts it, the Enfield 350s as well. It's not going to be the fastest either, but maybe it's a nice balance of, all those different factors. And so we'll look to get to the stand-up motorcycle live in a couple of days to give you a full walk around and really get into the detail. Back for the new model year with some new aero wings. And it's got to be said, the pricing on this one looks pretty impressive at £15,999. I think that makes it about 1,500 quid less than last time it was available. But also it undercuts pretty much all the sports bike competition, like the new Gixxer that's just come out, the S1000RR, the Aprilia RSV4, it's a grand or two less than any of those. And yet it is a proven performer, and so that could be potentially the best value liter sports bike on the market for 2026. Naturally, the more track-focused ZX10RR comes in quite a lot more expensive at £24,799. But to be honest, the regular R is probably more than enough bike for most people. Now, another update also fitted it with an IMU for lean sensitive rider aids, and this one, the standard bike, comes in at £11,499, which keeps it nice and competitive with the likes of Yamaha's XSR 900, and also still undercuts some of the other sporty retros like the Triumph Speed Twin 1200 and the BMW R1290. Got that sort of Japanese retro vibe, and that one is starting from £10,599 for 2026, so it's a really good price. But I will say the Kawasaki for me probably still edges it on looks, and so perhaps the extra spend can be justified. And lastly, on the Kawasaki pricing front, we've also got the price for their KLE 500. Now this is a bike that caused quite a stir when it was announced about a month or so back, with potentially another good option on this booming mid-capacity adventure bike market, although I think it all pretty much hinged on the price. I've got to say though, at £5,999 for the standard bike, £6,599 for the SE version, well, I think it's pretty decent, and I reckon the benchmark for this sector will become the new BMW F450 GS, but that starts at just under £7,000, with the more desirable finishes coming in at closer to 8. And so you've got to say, you're looking at about £1,000 or 1,500 quid less for the KLE, which I think is enough to make it look quite tempting. A 24-litre tank, tubeless spoke wheels on Pirelli tyres, KYB suspension, Nissin brakes, loads of ground clearance at 220mm, and a whole suite of tech, including a built-in dash cam. Now the price though, at just 6 of their press release, that it's really had the desired effect, because it's come out as the top-selling 750 to 1000cc adventure bike in the UK's industry figures for October 2025. So certainly the price has caught the eye of the customer, and so it's really got me wondering, because we just shot. So look, I've requested a press bike so I can test it out for myself. So if you want to see more LITELOK's headquarters in the UK, we actually got to cut a couple of locks as well, a standard unarmored lock and then one of their flagship X3s. And if you're not familiar with their products, then I think you've got to see it for yourself to really appreciate. I wanted to include a new product that they've just announced this week as well, called the X1 Plus. Now the regular X1 is a little like the X3, but a touch more affordable, a little more lightweight as well. But the X1 Plus, basically gives you a little extra length, which everyone appreciates, and that gives it some extra versatility for a bunch of different use cases. So perhaps you might want to lock your wheel through the fork leg, in which case you can get both through now. You can also lock your helmet as well to the front wheel. And if you park their products so far, but maybe just wanted a bit more maneuverability, then definitely check out the links down in the description below. And you'll also find down there a discount code, which is good for their X1 and X3 as well. And I think probably the rest of their products on their site. So do use that if you want to get a little bit of a year or so in the motorcycle industry, certainly here in the UK. But it seems like EICMA has been massively on the up, or at least according to this year's attendance figures. They sent out a press release that said that over 600,000 people visited the show